great pleasure now to bring on board Mr. Vinod Dasari to talk about what is happening in the auto sector and how things are likely to move from the new normal for the auto sector. Mr. Dasari, fantastic to have you back on ET Now. Thank you for joining us. Hope everything is fine and safe at your family and for your Eicher employees.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. Everybody's safe. I'm being particularly careful. I have 3 people inside my home who are more than 75 and 2 doctors at home. So I have to make sure that everybody's safe.
So glad to hear that. Okay, I'm going to first start with the lockdown. The first phase of the lockdown and now the partial lifting of lockdown. Looks like we are headed towards a partial lift down of lockdown. How do you think that will change the auto sector and the company you represent?
I think from a personal level, what I've asked all the employees to do yesterday is to think about all the things that we accomplished during the lockdown, which you would have otherwise not done personally. And what are all the things we regret not having done during the lockdown? So what we regret not having done becomes like an action plan for lockdown 2.0. But more specifically, as far as the company in the auto industry, I think a partial lifting will hopefully restart the juices for the supply chain. Starting OEM factories are much easier, but there will be some deal of confusion as to which industries can start. Now, there are companies in which they might have 2 or 3 plants, but sometimes the plants are interrelated. Like you were saying, even with the news company, you have control somewhere else and recording somewhere else. So even in auto industry, it's something like that. So if one area cannot start, but the other area is allowed to start, that could be a concern. What if supply chain, let's say Tamil Nadu opens up, but Maharashtra doesn't open up. So how do we get our supplies from Pune? So there will be a little bit of stuttered start, but I think within a 10-day time or 15-day time, I think this will come to normal once the lockdowns are lifted.
Okay. Now, the demand side shock has been there and the supply side shock has been there. When supply chains they pick up, the demands, the supply side problems could be taken care of. But when do you see the demand side shock getting absorbed?
Once the lockdown is lifted, I think the demand side, in my opinion, will actually come back stronger for 2 reasons. One is that there is a pent-up demand. We have been engaging quite a bit with our customers digitally. And obviously, because of the lockdown, the digital engagement scores are through the roof. But the level of engagement, the kind of engagement is simply superb. People are writing stories about their trips on Bullet and other Royal Enfield motorcycles, and the level of enthusiasm about new models and other products from Royal Enfield is truly very, very encouraging. So there is a pent-up demand. The second thing is, as you had said earlier, that there could be this potential that people will not want to travel in public transport, so maybe they will buy cars or 2-wheelers, and that could also mean well for the motorcycle industry for Royal Enfield.
Now, the auto industry is coming on the back of a slowdown in 2019, and on top of that, you have a lockdown. So, slowdown and lockdown. If I put these 2 factors together, what kind of year and what kind of time period are we staring at for the auto industry?
See, this quarter will be difficult for everybody. I think April is a washout. I don't know when the lockdown will be lifted. I think May will be a good recovery, slowly, but maybe still about half of what people did. I don't know how much of the lockdown will be. But I think definitely this quarter will have some impacts because of lockdown. But after that, I think the recovery will be sharper than what people are saying. In my opinion, because of the reasons I mentioned earlier, I believe the recovery will be even sharper. And for the year, it might not be too bad, as I'm not so pessimistic as some of the people are saying.
So can I safely assume that we could be in for a very sharpish recovery around the festival season, the Dussehra, Diwali demand? Do you think things could normalize?
Yes, I think so. I hope so, and I pray so.
Now, all of us are hoping and praying. I mean, we are in the, I think that's a broader message. Uh, let's talk about job losses. Do you think that large auto companies are cash rich companies? They generate a lot of cash, but suppliers are not, dealers are not. Some of them have bank loans and some of them will struggle. So how do you see the dynamics of the auto industry changing at a dealer level and also at a supplier level?
So, we have broken our response into three parts. One is what we call within our fences, about what we do. Then what do we do around our fences, and what do we do beyond our fences. So let me talk about beyond our fences, because that's what you asked about our suppliers and dealers. And for our dealers, all the money that we had with them as advance, we returned. All the warranty claims, everything else we given. And we keep very little stocks with the dealers. So even before this whole thing started, we had reduced our inventories. Our dealers carry less than 10 days worth of stock. So their cash is not held somewhere else. So they have plenty of cash, and Royal Enfield dealers are generally profitable. I'm sure everybody is struggling right now. What we have done is an internal study. We are identifying all those dealers who are potentially going to struggle. And if there's specific action that we need to do, we will look at it. Mind you, we also have about 10 company stores, so we know what a dealer will be feeling, and so we have a very nice template about their profitability. And if there is some action that needs to be taken to help the dealer, we'll certainly do. Similarly, with a supplier, contrary to what some media people had reported, we made sure that 100% of the payments as and when due are being paid. We've also given our learning platform to our suppliers. So within a 3-day period, more than 1,000 hours of learning by suppliers has happened. So I've had a town hall with all the suppliers. I've had a town hall with all the dealers. I've had 2 town halls with all the employees digitally. So everything was done. Even with suppliers, we have done an internal analysis to say which of these suppliers are going to struggle despite our help. So is there something else that we can do? And we have identified a few of them, smaller suppliers, and we are actually going to put in some action to specifically help them out, even if it means sending our teams to help them manage through the crisis.
Some auto companies are indicating that they have stopped paying wages. These are large auto companies. What is the current approach for Eicher internal employees? Are you committed not to cut jobs? Are you committed to pay their full wages and salaries?
As of now, during the lockdown, 100%. We are not doing any retrenchment, whether it's permanent workforce or temporary workforce, or even service employees like sanitation employees or housekeeping employees. We're not doing any retrenchment, and we are not doing any pay cuts. So we're paying 100%. Look, Nikunj, when, let's say, the inventory was high and we had cut inventory, wanted to cut inventory, and hence we wanted to have lesser temporary workforce or something, that's a normal economic situation. What we are dealing with now is not a normal economic situation. The guy wants to work. It is something out of your control and my control that the guy does not have the job. This is not the time to hurt the people at the bottom of the pyramid. Or to take any action that would hurt the people at the bottom of the pyramid. This is the time to support them. I think maybe it sounds too esoteric, but maybe this is the time to say, let's focus on humanity more than profit for a change.
And I'm so glad that you are talking about the vision and the mission statement of your company. Okay, so one side is humanity, vision, mission statement, what Eicher stands for. On the other side, there are shareholders. Now, shareholder wants more profits, automation, cost cutting, sharper ratios. How would you balance both? What would be a message to your shareholders? When will life come back to normal? How would Eicher reboot itself?
Well, first and foremost, the shareholders will be very happy to know that here's a company that lives up to its values. Most shareholders are long-term shareholders, especially of Eicher, and they want to make sure that the company is doing something which are not short-term slash and burn kind of activities. We are going to do lots of cost-cutting initiatives. We've launched an internal program to find all the areas of the company where we can cut costs, and that goes on. But we are not going to slash and burn and hurt the very people who are, whether dealers, suppliers, or our workers who are our partners in this journey. So the sustainability of the company is much more longer if we focus on our values, and that's what the shareholders will want. Now, we are also doing a lot of actions. I'm getting an echo suddenly.
Yeah, we can hear you, so please go ahead.
Okay, so I was getting an echo for a second. So I was saying that we are also doing a lot of actions to continue our new product launches. We are looking at lots of digital launches and digitizing the selling process. We are also a company with significant amount of cash. So our shareholders, like I told you, are mostly long-term shareholders, and they see that this is a company that has doing all the right actions, not short-term cost cutting, because that if you do short-term cost cutting, it will have a longer-term impact.
So let's talk about the customers now. Post this reboot, the customer experience would change. We are spending more time on digital tools. How do you think the customer experience will change for retail-dominated stores? Do you think now there would be less and less focus on, let's say, opening up new outlets, opening up new, and chasing more footfalls to sell bikes?
Well, eventually, we will most certainly do that. I mean, we are now launching. We launched something called URE, which means or UR, which basically lets you design the motorcycle, and we piloted that. And there was tremendous response. We launched it on one model in one particular geographic area, and it was very well received. So that we did it in January, February. So now we will launch that even more. So you could use your mobile phone to design a vehicle, and we will make it for you, custom make it for you. That's coming for sure. We call it make your own. So in this lockdown period, one of the things that we are doing is to seeing how we can move our company from traditionally make to stock to move to 100% make to order. So if you want a bike, you can design it on your mobile phone or on the web. You'll choose the graphics, you choose whatever you want, and within 24, 48 hours, I'll make it for you, specifically for you, and have it shipped out. Having said that, you still need to go pick it up, or I can deliver it to your house. But when you need service, I can come and do service at your place. But certain times you might still need a network. You will still need a network to service. It will teach us new things on how to do it on site, how to do it digitally, how to give a contact-like experience. We are experimenting with all of that. But the greatest learning is on how we digitally engage with our customers in the entire buying experience.
So can I safely say that unlike other auto companies, unlike other two-wheeler companies, your buyer or customer is a digital savvy customer? They will adapt the first, whereas the Heroes and the Bajaj Autos may struggle because they have a very strong rural customer. For Eicher, the customer is largely urban educated and is digital savvy, and that's going to hurt you less.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to comment on what others will do or will not do. You're right in your analysis that a larger portion of our sales is urban customers, and they're youngish, less than 30 years old. So, and they are very digital savvy, much better than us. Many ideas are coming from them and how we can do that. So, by leveraging digital, we will hopefully soften the impact that this downturn might cause us.
I want to specifically talk about the customer. Typically, when a slowdown happened, a luxury spend is curtailed. It becomes you focus on the necessity spends. Now, Eicher is not an ordinary mode of transport. If you are riding an Eicher bike, you are actually betting on an experience, whether it is trekking or whether it is mountaineering. So my question to you is that when the economy is going to go to a slowdown, what happens to a category and a niche category like yours?
Well, first of all, people don't buy a Royal Enfield just to go from point A to point B. They buy it because it differentiates them. It is a statement of who they are. That doesn't change. That's common human tendency. Once the market comes back, there is a pent-up demand. There will be people who are continuing to want this. Look, even in a downturn last year, in our categories, we actually gained market share. Overall motorcycles, if you take, we still retained our market share, despite there was a 15-20% downturn in the overall motorcycle, but we maintained our market share. That means those people who want to differentiate themselves will continue to remain, and now we are offering them digital tools which will help them do it even better. So engage them even more. So I believe that not only Royal Enfield type customers will continue to stay, but also grow. It is an aspirational vehicle, and which we are making sure that we are pricing it right so that everybody can also have accessibility to it. We have significantly more than doubled our network in the last 1 year to reach out outside the urban areas also. That has given us very good results. So combination of both the accessibility of the product and network as well as the aspirational aspect of Royal Enfield bikes will bode well for us.
Now, there are two compulsive bulls on the screen right now, you and me. We both believe that things will turn better. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And when things settle down, demand is going to be sharp. But what could be the worst case scenario? What do you think we should be a bit wary of?
Well, that's a very good question. You know, in business, we always hope for the best case, operate in the most likely, but prepare for the worst case. And the worst case scenario could be that this lockdown extends. Okay. If it extends, let's say, this whole quarter, God forbid, but something like that happens and consumer sentiment is so dented that people don't come back immediately to the market. Till the economic upcycle takes a little bit longer time. If that's the case, you know, that would be a worst case scenario, and I hope we don't achieve this. But fortunately, Royal Enfield is a company which has got very strong cash position. We are not going to make short-term decisions that will hurt the long-term impact of the company. We are continuing our new product development. We are continuing our work on electric vehicles. We are continuing our work on digitization. We're continuing to streamline our internal transactions and all that to make it even simpler. So with all that, it will come back. It's not a question of whether it will come back. It is a question of whether it will come back next month or whether it will come back 4 or 5 months from now. So it will come back, and when it does, we'll be both physically as well as mentally much sharper than we are today.
Why are you not taking a decision to conserve cash? Because cash right now is king. You have cash, and some would argue that one should conserve cash rather than spending on R&D and other, other aspects.
Well, first and the three parts to that, Nikunj, is a very good question. First and foremost, we have to look at the larger ecosystem. I can conserve cash, but not at the cost of my suppliers or my dealers or my employees. So I must make sure that they have the necessary cash to survive. If we don't do that, then as the market comes back, the ecosystem will not be there and we will not be able to remain alive. The second part is much of the R&D work and all that is anyway fixed cost, no? Most of it is people cost, so that anyway fixed costs. And I told you earlier that we are not sacking people or we are not reducing our headcount. So if they are there, it is actually a best time when they are demotivated and disengaged, energize them and say, let's take an even bigger target. Can we do things faster? Can we, deliver even better results than before? So that would help them. And the third thing is, yes, we have cash. So rather than think of conserving cash, does it provide a fantastic opportunity to look for some other inorganic kind of things? That's another thing that we should be looking at.
Fair point. So I'm tempted to ask you another follow-up question. The bombed out pockets right now are Europe, US, and parts of Asia. Manufacturing is going to shift. Suddenly the corporate tax in India is much lower than what we have. Interest rates are coming down. Are these opportunities which could suddenly open up for you on export front?
Well, we manufacture only in India as of now, and we export all over the world. So if we are going to be looking at other countries where there is import duties and all that, we are looking at CKD plants. So hopefully those costs of those CKD plants, which are minor in nature, maybe a couple of $4-5 million per plant. But we are looking at several small plants in Asia Pacific, LATAM, and that would possibly, because of this lower import duties or lower interest rates, make it even better for us to put those things in. And once we have those CKD plants, I think we will have an even better export market. By the way, we doubled our sales internationally last year over previous year. And we are continuing to be very bullish. And we don't export to Africa and all that. Some of our competitors do, but we are truly a global brand in that sense. We export to North America, UK, Italy, Spain, France, Germany, Korea. I mean, cars from Korea come to Chennai, but motorcycles from Chennai go to Korea. We are so proud about that.
Okay, now personally for you, you've changed roles, from being in a sector which was price sensitive, which was not customer focused, which was linked to the economy. Here you're managing a company which is linked on aspiration, inspiration, and experience. How has life changed for you in between the roles?
First of all, in commercial vehicles, I don't think it was always price sensitive. Some people competed on price, but commercial vehicles, 65% of the operating cost is fuel. So if you can do better fuel efficiency and better uptime, that is the mantra for commercial vehicles. But I've lived that for 14 years, so I'm trying to forget that. I mean, it's been a fabulous transformation. It's a very exciting learning for me. I mean, Royal Enfield is an iconic brand, as you know. It is a company that has had tremendous success. The success that Royal Enfield had over the last decade or so is almost storybook, right? It is growing at the rate of 20-25% every year. It's the most profitable motorcycle company in the world. It exports to different parts of the world. The brand is so well known. So in that sense, it was fantastic learning for me. I've never been in a two-wheeler industry. I've never been in a consumer industry, that too for a premium brand. So it's been a great learning. I have a fantastic team, and it's been a privilege to work with them, to learn from them, and we are now in a challenging situation. So all the learning that we have and all the history that we have, that is helping us to survive and sustain ourselves, and maybe even grow faster, even better as the situation improves. So personally, it's a great ride, as I say.
I must say that the zing in your voice is absolutely infectious. I'm sure the positivity, what you're sharing, will have a very strong impact and a very strong messaging. So one last question, I'm asking this to every corporate I'm interacting with, that what have been your learnings from work at home, personally, in terms of productivity, in terms of adaptability? Would you like to share a few of them?
Yeah, very good question. I was talking about the beyond our fences. As we come closer to our fences, we have put 50 crores as an initial outlay to help with the hospitals and all that. We are already giving that. We've actually told all the government authorities, look, we can't produce motorcycles, but we can produce food. We have canteens. So tell us what you want us to produce, we'll produce and give it to you. But come closer inside the fences. Very important question right now is, how do you motivate and engage your employees? Their work from home slowly can be debilitating, it can become demoralizing. So we had a lot of online courses and all that, lots of people posting also on our internal sort of Facebook kind of page, internal Google page that we have. But we launched something, two things we have done, Nikunj, which is very, very important. We said we launched 10 projects which are in line with our business plan, and said, can we now take an even more aggressive target? The best thing to do is to get people to do problem solving and engage with their colleagues. That's what gets people excited. The second thing that we did, very, very important, you must have heard of TED Talks kind of thing. So we launched something yesterday called Red Talks, R-E-D, because Royal Enfield Discussion and Talks. So everybody is now putting up saying, here are my interests and here are my expertise, both professionally and personally. And we are going to have a series of these. Somebody talking about the history of Royal Enfield. I'm talking tomorrow on what is leadership. And then I asked my interest is to learn how to make aloo paratha. So I want to learn how to do that. So if somebody puts that up saying I'm an expert at that, well, I will sign on to his course, and it's a 20-30 minute course. And the best thing to do is to learn from each other, right? So when this whole thing comes out, yes, we have workout videos also, but mental sharpness and engagement with our team. I mean, these are people that I used to see every day. Now I don't see them. I see them only on a computer screen. I want to be able to talk to them, chat with them, and learn from them. And that is what is missing. And if you can infuse this portion, problem solving, cross-functional team, and learning, I think the work from home will become far better. And that's what we're doing.
It's such a wonderful answer. And I personally would be tempted to join that aloo paratha class, being from North India. So appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. And, you're one of the most positive corporates I've interacted with at a time when we're going through interesting and some would say difficult times. All the best, sir. Keep safe.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.